how's this course?
It's pretty good. It's in great shape. Past Palom, so pretty generous to hit off of. Kind of sitting on a tee everywhere, no rough. Resort style golf course. Big fairways, big greens. Sectioning in the greens. I just played the back nine, so you got some hazards you need to avoid, but there's plenty of room to avoid them. There's some bunkers. A couple of us have some bunkers in the middle of the fairway, and then it kind of splits left or right. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
Is it a long course? Does it feel long?
Yeah, it is long. I think it's 7,600 yards, so pretty long. A little bit of breeze today, so on the ocean, there's nothing to block the wind really. So the in the wind holes play really long, and the downwind holes play really short. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but the wind gets on the golf ball pretty good because there's nothing to block it. We're kind of right on the ocean. There's not a lot of trees, but yeah, it's a good golf. It's a good resort golf course. I think the scoring will be pretty good if I had to guess. You're probably looking at 16 to maybe 14 to 18, 16 to 20, depending on the weather.
If you had to compare it to, some of these other resort style courses or, even Mayakoba, how does it compare?
Yeah, it's not as penal as Mayakoba. Mayakoba has a lot of hazards off the tees. This one I would think is very similar to what we played in the Dominican Republic, Punta. So, pretty wide fairways, some bunkering here and there that you need to avoid. Some hazards that you need to avoid off the tee shots and second shots. But if you're going well, you can definitely score on it a little bit. I played the back, and the two long par fours were right into the wind. So 480 and 500 playing right into the wind, add 30 yards to those. So I hit a 4-iron into one and a 7-wood into another. So those holes
can I reach those holes in two?
I think you can. You're gonna have to hit a little flat knuckler off the tee.
Maybe I'll play up a tee. Is it true you take a boat to the golf course from your room?
It is. So the property is pretty scattered here, and I'm lucky enough to be staying at the hotel that is right across the lagoon from the practice range and our setup. There is some logistical things that the players will have to deal with that doesn't really affect what happens on the golf course, but may affect your routine a little bit. Guys are creatures of habit. So there's some driving around, and there's a boat ride, and then you're on the range, and then there's a 8 to 10 minute cart ride to the first and the 10th tee. So yeah, a little bit of figuring out your routine for the week. But the way the game's going now, guys are hitting it far, so distance doesn't really scare a lot of guys. So I think there'll be enough guys that figure out how to shoot 3, 4, 5 under, every day.
And they've got two. I was telling Diane today on the podcast, they've got two really good Mexican players for the first time in a long time with Answer and Ortiz. I mean, they got to be excited. The Mexican people, they love golf down there. What's it like down there? Is it festive? Like they're looking forward to having you boys there?
Yeah. So this resort that we're on is a massive resort here in Puerto Vallarta. It has the feeling of like Disney World almost. There's those carriage things that they're like ski lifts, but they're enclosed and they're going all over the property, and there seems to be roller coasters and Ferris wheels, all kinds of stuff. So I think this is a pretty popular tourist destination. Okay. So I think they'll have some of that. It is the Mexican Open, so it's their national Open. I don't know the history on that. I probably should know the history. You guys can look the history up for me. But I think it's an event that's been part of the Mexican Golf Federation for a long time. It was part of the Latin American Tour last year. I don't know how much local support they'll get, but they'll have their sponsors, and their sponsors will be entertaining this week. And I'm sure there's people that are here on vacation, maybe possibly because of the event or just coincidentally that'll be coming out. So, like you said, I think part of what the tour's done in the last 2 decades or so is tried to make the game a global game. And you're seeing more and more players on the PGA Tour coming from different parts of the world that maybe when you played full-time out that you didn't see. We've got a lot of guys from Latin America, South America, Asia, Australia. All these guys are coming to play this tour because that's where the best golf is in the world. So I think, coming to places like Puerto Vallarta, and we were in Mexico City for a while, and we do play in Myco, but like you mentioned earlier,